Malaysia just announced a $100 billion gamble that could either make it the next Singapore or the next Sri Lanka. But there's a hidden blueprint they're copying, one that transformed a tiny Chinese fishing village into a $500 billion tech giant in just 40 years. If you've ever wondered whether your country could replicate China's miracle, this story will shock you. But wait! Before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment "I subscribe" below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. First, let's talk about what Malaysia is actually trying to pull off, and why it sounds insane. It's called the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, or JS-SEZ for short. A $100 billion mega-project designed to turn the southern tip of Malaysia into a manufacturing and tech powerhouse. Think factories, data centers, research labs, and logistics hubs, all crammed into a zone half the size of Singapore. Now, I want you to meet someone who's living this transformation in real time. Her name is Aisha. She's 34, a factory supervisor in Johor Bahru. She's watched her hometown go from rubber plantations to sprawling industrial parks in just 15 years. But here's her turning point. In 2023, her factory lost a $50 million electronics contract. Not because of quality, not because of price, but because their permits took 9 months to process, and the client went to Vietnam instead. And this isn't just her story. Malaysia's share of global electronics manufacturing dropped from 7% in 2010 to just 4.2% in 2024, according to the World Bank. Aisha told me something that stuck with me: if we don't act now, my kids will be working in Vietnamese factories, not Malaysian ones. But here's the thing, Malaysia isn't the first country to try this. And most have failed spectacularly. Let's rewind to 1979. Shenzhen had 30,000 people and dirt roads. Fast forward to 2020, 12.5 million people, a $500 billion GDP, and it's home to Huawei, Tencent, and DJI. So what happened? A 2019 MIT study broke down Shenzhen's success into 3 brutal factors that most countries completely ignore. Number 1, ruthless speed. Infrastructure wasn't built in years, it was built in months. There are videos of Chinese construction crews erecting bridges in 43 hours. Not 43 days. Hours. Number 2, tax holidays on steroids. Shenzhen offered 0% corporate tax for the first 5 years, then just 15%, compared to China's standard 25%. Companies saved hundreds of millions. Number 3, geographic luck. Shenzhen borders Hong Kong. That meant instant access to capital, international talent, and global markets. It was like having a first-class airport before the city even had paved roads. Now imagine this. One day you're a rice farmer, the next week a 15-story factory is casting shadows over your field. That was Shenzhen in the 1980s. But here's what no one tells you: 70% of Shenzhen's original residents were displaced. Many were never compensated. So can Malaysia replicate the wins without the human cost? Let's see what they're doing differently. Malaysia has 2 advantages Shenzhen never had. First, existing infrastructure. The port of Tanjung Pelepah is already Southeast Asia's second busiest port, handling 15 million containers a year. Shenzhen had to build theirs from scratch. Second, a demographic sweet spot. 70% of Malaysia's population is under 40. That's a young, hungry workforce, something China lost to its aging population. And this is already paying off. Remember Aisha? She just got promoted. Her factory landed a $120 million electric vehicle battery contract. Why? Because the JS-SEZ fast-tracked their permits in 6 weeks, compared to 9 months before. A 2024 OECD report found that countries with permit processes under 90 days attract 3.4 times more foreign direct investment. Let me put that in perspective. Vietnam's average permit wait? 4 months. Thailand? 5 months. Malaysia's new target? 30 days. For the first time in years, Aisha's saving for her daughter's university fund. But there's a darker force threatening to unravel everything, and it's already started. 3 risks could turn this dream into a debt trap. Risk number 1. The Singapore dependency. Malaysia is betting that Singapore will share the wealth. But history says they won't. Meet Rajesh. He's 41, runs a logistics company in Johor. In 2022, he expanded his fleet, betting on cross-border trade between Malaysia and Singapore. Then Singapore imposed new customs fees in 2023. His profit margins dropped 18% overnight. Here's the reality. Singapore's GDP per capita is $88,000. Malaysia's is $12,000. And that wealth gap? It's widened by 14% since 2015, according to the IMF. Rajesh described it to me like this: it's like building a highway to your neighbor's house, only to have them charge you a toll every time you leave. Risk number 2. The debt cliff. Sri Lanka borrowed $8 billion to build the Hambantota port. It failed. They couldn't repay the loans. So they handed the port to China for 99 years. A Harvard Kennedy School study from 2023 found that infrastructure projects with less than 30% private investment have a 68% failure rate. Malaysia's JS-SEZ? 80% government funded. Only 20% private. Risk number 3. Environmental backlash. The zone requires draining 3,000 hectares of wetlands, home to endangered species like the Sunda pangolin. Dr. Lim, a 52-year-old marine biologist, has documented a 40% drop in mangrove coverage in Johor since 2010. She told me, "We're trading our natural wealth for concrete." So is Malaysia walking into a trap? Or do they have an escape plan the world hasn't seen yet? Here's what experts say Malaysia should do before pouring another billion into concrete. Alternative number 1. The Vietnam model. Focus on one sector first. Vietnam chose textiles, then electronics, then semiconductors. Each step built on the last. Malaysia could dominate green energy manufacturing, solar panels, EV batteries, wind turbines. A Brookings Institute study from 2024 found that countries with sector-specific zones grow GDP 2.1 times faster than generalist zones. Alternative number 2. The Taiwan talent magnet. Taiwan didn't just build factories, it built universities inside industrial parks. Hsinchu Science Park graduates 12,000 engineers every year who work in the same park. No brain drain. Malaysia graduates 8,000 engineers a year, who leave for Singapore. Aisha told me, "I'd stay in Malaysia if there were R&D jobs here, not just assembly lines." Alternative number 3. Incremental scale. Instead of a $100 billion moonshot, start with $10 billion. Prove it works. Then scale. McKinsey reported in 2023 that phased infrastructure projects have 89% completion rates, compared to just 34% for megaprojects. But Malaysia's leaders have already made their choice. And the clock is ticking. Here's my prediction, based on 3 key indicators. Indicator number 3. Infrastructure speed. If the first factory isn't operational by 2026, investors will flee to Vietnam. Current status? Groundbreaking is set for March 2025. That gives them 12 months. Indicator number 2. Private investment. If they can't get private funding above 40% by 2027, debt will spiral. Current status? 20% locked in. They need to double it in 24 months. Indicator number 1. Political stability. Shenzhen had one-party rule for 40 years. No interruptions. No debates. Malaysia has elections every 5 years. And between 2018 and 2022, Malaysia had 3 different prime ministers. Projects stalled each time. Oxford Economics found in 2024 that political turnover increases infrastructure costs by 27% on average. Right now, it's 50-50ths. Malaysia has the resources, the location, and the hunger. But do they have the discipline to finish what they started? So here's what I want to know. If you were Malaysia's leader, would you risk $100 billion on this bet? Or would you take the safer, slower route? And here's the real question. What happens to countries like yours if Malaysia succeeds? Does it force everyone else to take the same gamble? Tell me in the comments. Is this a visionary move or a reckless mistake? Let's debate. Because in 10 years, we'll look back at 2025 as the year Malaysia either became the next Shenzhen or the next caution